Welcome, everyone. My name is Jendra Jarnagin. I am a cinematographer, and the last panel of the day is that Steadicam shot and how I got it. We have an amazing group of very veteran Steadicam operators here that have chosen a single clip from their, I think, am I right in saying each of you is over 20 years career in the industry? No? Okay.
I'm not the veteran.
Okay. But you still have a very, what's the word, accomplished career, and your clip is fantastic. So my point is that these very experienced people picked a single clip that they thought was the most interesting to talk about that shot and how I got it. So we got some very incredible, inspiring work to show and discuss. The way the panel is going to go is we're going to do one at a time. We're going to move in this order. And let me start by introducing everyone. So to my left, Colin Hudson is a veteran camera operator with 27 years of exclusive experience in the world of Steadicam. He now works as an 8-camera Steadicam operator without any aspirations of being a director of photography. He just loves doing what he does best. He was first taught by its inventor, Garrett Brown, in 1997 and has never looked back. He has shot many movies worldwide and continues pushing the limits of Steadicam using untraditional methods and style. Now a proud owner of 2 M1 Volts, he continues to bring life and the tradition of elegance while always trying to bring a unique vision to the art of camera operating. He currently has a dog. Originally from Australia, Matthew Pearce worked as a focus puller for 12 years before he moved up to operator in 2011 after the birth of his second child. His recent work includes the final 2 seasons of Lucifer, The Cleaning Lady Season 1, Season 4 and 5 of Mayans MC, with extended runs on Snowfall, Shining Vale, and Better Call Saul. Alec Jarnagin is my husband. He is an 8-camera Steadicam operator and cinematographer based in Brooklyn, New York, with over 25 years experience. Some highlights of his operating career include Best Picture winner Coda, the action thriller Run All Night with Liam Neeson and Ed Harris, the popular Hulu feature Fire Island, as well as the television series The Americans and Mozart in the Jungle. Alec operated 2 seasons of The Good Fight before taking over as director of photography for the final 2 seasons. So we'll move right into it. Colin, do you want to say anything about your clip before we show it?
Well, it's standard definition. But it's weird. I did this shot almost exactly 20 years ago, and but it was super fun. It was a super challenge. Never done it before. You'll kind of just see it. It shows a little behind the scenes. It's only 30 seconds, but it's a commercial. But I used both the Stratocrane and also half the commercial as just being kind of a tribute to Garrett Brown of, 2 frames per second. I had to just walk a whole field. It's basically a Tiger Woods commercial, but I had to walk a whole hole in as smooth as possible. So it was like 2 frames a second, and just to get the shot. And then I play the point of view of Tiger Woods' golf ball landing on a course. So but it was a technical aspect of just to see it afterwards. But it was crazy, and I don't know if I would have done it now. So
cool. We'll talk about that after we see it. So yeah, this one is not a oneer. There's a few different shots in here that are all very interesting in how they were achieved.
Your business objective is clear. Trouble is, there are obstacles in your way. Apparently insurmountable obstacles. Unless, of course, you invent a way to get around them. Go on. Be a tiger. Accenture. Consulting, technology, outsourcing. Accenture. High performance delivered.
And action! I put on that book. Anybody not ready? We're on you, Rob. Ronnie, clip. Clip! Beautiful. That was perfect.
So, Colin, tell us about that shot.
Well, it's pretty wild. It's because the traditional Steadicam thing is a crane step off, so you just walk off the platform and then they have to have someone else balance it. But this one, to get that height, it was 69 feet high and 72 feet long. So to make that transition, you had to be suspended, and it's not a platform anymore. And it becomes heavier, I guess. But to make it as light as possible is just me there with a Steadicam. So I had to Cirque du Soleil. They just called me to do this, and I'm like, yep. And it was in Florida, and it was John Lindley, the DP, and he was a really good DP. And I was like, absolutely. But people, I think I got recommended because I was just like, Colin will do anything. I mean, it was really, I would have, and I did some crazy stuff in my life. So, but I don't think I would do that anymore. It's a really long thing, and but so stepping off a crane is just it's normal. It's taking off a step, but this has to. You had to design the stirrups so I had something to push off of to keep my body upright, and otherwise you just want to just tip over. So the Cirque du Soleil, the people designed that outfit for me, and it was really hard. So I had 2 days to prep it. They just called me, go to Florida, 2 days, and it was a learning experience. But I didn't know if I could. They were like, well, because I was going forward, it's so likely that I'm just going to fall forward. So I just had to get that perfect transition, and so we had 2 days to prep it. The guys were great, but it was more daunting and complex than I thought it would be because I didn't know.
So the execution and the approach was conceived before you were even hired, like the DP and the director and the riggers had figured out how this would be done? I
think, yeah, and I wasn't the first person to ever do it, but it doesn't happen very often. And nowadays with the remote heads and all that stuff, but the director designed that shot because to be long enough, that crane base, it's not like CGI wasn't as common, and it was like they would have to paint out the crane base, but the way they did it is it was so long, and we used the arc, and so I had to go around it 180 to see the beginning of where he shot it, and the crane base was perfectly just out of front shot, so they didn't have to paint it or anything like that. So so he designed this shot, and it was like, great. So, but it was a very interesting, unique.
Do you have any recollection of how many takes it took to pull it off?
So we practiced it 2 days in advance, and we did it a few times. The last thing you just saw was just a rehearsal day, and then we had a whole bunch of background, and Tiger was there that day, but he was on the second half. He had 4 hours with him. He's a very expensive guy, and so I think it was only about 6 takes,
And how many shots in there? So we had the U flying where you start on the ball and then land on the course and come in and arc around. And then we also have the one that starts close and backs up really, really quickly. So is that the one you said you're doing 2 frames a second?
You're right. So that's kind of like the Return of the Jedi, Garrett Brown going through the Endor forest and like the speeder bikes. He shot that at 1.5 frames per second with gyros and everything. I had to just use the 435, and that was run backwards. So I just started on the ball and walked forward all the way to the flag. But it took me, 12, 15 minutes, and it's hard. And you just because your mind just gets because you have to keep it fixed on the flag. That's what I focused on. But it was mind numbing. But it was a creative commercial from their point of view, and it was really fun for me. And I really used the techniques of what Steadicam really can bring out.
How were you feeling about as this went along? Like, were you like? I mean, you've mentioned a few things about that already in what you've said, but were you worried that it might not be successful, or that you would have to pivot? Did you have some ideas up your sleeve of like alternative ways if it just wasn't working, or like what were your thoughts?
They didn't tell me much. They just said, "Well, you want to go in a crane?" I'm like, "Yep." And but
were you scared? Or nervous? Or
the weird thing is like when I started was like there was a big. I don't know why it didn't occur to me, but I was at the. I'm sure a lot of us were at Showbiz Expo back in the. It was '97 or something, but it was called the Russian crane accident. It just snapped when everyone was there and hurt people, and that was a much smaller plane, but a crane, and but. I don't know why it didn't occur to me that that would be really bad if it because it's so much longer and it's so much weight, and I was nervous, but when I was there, I was like, this is fun.
How would you do this shot today?
Drone. Yeah.
I mean, I knew that answer, but I wanted to hear for the
audience. I wish after that experience, and I know that it was really you could really do a lot of stuff, and I wish we could have developed and try to work with directors and like really make a clever shot that just, it's like Yo Soy Cuba or, that's kind of amazing. And it can be done, but it's a lot of work. And technology has just changed and, it's whatever. It was what it was. That's why it's 20 years old. But I was just like, hey, that was one of the most fun things I've done. Sure. So.
Anything else you want to say before we move on to the next clip?
No. I just like, yeah.
Was the golf ball in the frame early CGI or the normal golf ball?
That was a CGI. I was aiming at the flag, but they just wanted to. It could have done just with a crane, but because they wanted me to go around 180, and they kind of, faded out of the shot because I had to land it, see that where the golf ball is in the tree way back there, and land that. They cut it a little bit, but just kind of you can see it, but I just like that was so important to go 180 around that thing, not see a crane there. And see the tree where the ball was hidden by. And so, but I loved it. I wish we could do more.
Awesome. That was really exciting. Thank you for that. Matt, for your clip, do you want to say anything to set it up before we launch into it?
Yeah, sure. I met Vanessa Joy Smith, Mayans DP. I did an episode with her in New Mexico on a show that I went out to finish. She said, Mayans has some Steadicam next season. I'm looking for an operator. Would you like to do it? I said yes. And this was my first day on the set, the first thing I did. This was meet everybody, and this was the first day.
Great.
Fucking go! What the fuck? Get over this fucking... Come on, go! Go, push it! Hey, fuck down! Get out! Just get out, stay away! We're here! Let it go! We're here! Who? Fucking everybody! Where the fuck are the guns? Hey! Get the fuck away from the window! Oh, fuck!
Welcome to the show, season 4, meet everybody, and then that was the first 8 hours, 2-part oneer, with that transition in the middle when we go from interior to the ladder up onto the rooftop.
So there's a cut hidden in there when we're full frame on his back, right? In
Exactly.
the darkness? Or?
Yeah, they pitched it as a Birdman style transition where we pushed into his back and then pull out of his back as he comes through the roof, rather than the language of that season that they were trying to push was a lot of pushing and pulling, and never really, and staying in the scenes rather than out for those transition moments.
So what was the collaboration like in designing the shot between yourself, the director, the DP, and the actors?
It was the first day, so they had prepped it. They had a stunt walk through the day before with the director and the DP. They were able to show me an iPhone recording of what they thought the stunt guys were going to do. And so that gave me a good parameter as to what I felt, where just to start. They allowed me, as soon as I heard that we didn't want to see that actor running out of the beginning, we were able to get a ramp on the front set of stairs. But we saw this second set of stairs, so that became what it was. They were open to any input that I had, but because it was so defined what I thought they wanted, I just tried to make it work with their positioning, their timing. But adding the actors changed everything, making sure we got the lines. So I basically just moved an actor to have him, instead of coming in from the left, to have him come in from the right, so that we could sit on him long enough to get the dialogue and make it work.
So what was the execution and the rehearsal process like, and how did you work with the AD and any other crew in all the moving parts?
Yeah, the two 360s meant that I had a boom guy, myself, my dolly grip, and obviously all the actors going past us. It took us about 6 or 7 takes to even get through the front door because of the landing of the truck against the gate that they didn't want to see that needed to happen. They're not classically trained actors, so they were very spontaneous in their timing and performances. So really we had all of these pieces, and every time they did it different. And every time we just kept getting to where it would fall apart, and then we would go back to the beginning. We just kept adding and adding and adding until we got to the end. And then we started trying to tighten up the performances so that they could not shoot any more coverage. Because when they pitched it to me, I thought it was going to be a one-er with coverage, which is normally the case. We got this big one-er.
Welcome to television.
With a couple of quick pops. And that you got to kill yourself to try to make it work, and then they're going to add a couple of pieces to tidy it up. With this one, B cameras sat around for 9 hours watching and giving notes, and it was always a commitment to actually doing it in one. So we got to the end by about take 12, I think it's how long it took to actually get into the push-in on the back before he went up the stairs, up the ladder. And then we started to then really try to tighten up the performances to take the air out of it, to keep it moving. But every time they gave a note, everything changed a little bit. So be it how long it took the truck, the guy that runs through, the people coming in with dialogue, the actual practical explosion of the window, which we did on the last 2 takes after we'd done 2 that actually worked. So we only got 4, I think, complete takes. They were going to digitally add things in if they didn't work after that. But on takes 15 and 16, they started blowing the windows. And the first time we blew it too early, because they really didn't they wanted the practical window to blow within the middle of the whip pan, which meant that somebody had to be in the room to see me start that move so that they could time it so it was actually happening when we got to him. And the first time we got through to the end of it, I think the previous take was better technically, but everything had a little bit too much air. So then we had to just go again and try to get dangerous about the timing, and that's what they actually wanted.
Mm-hmm. So did you start rehearsing without the camera in terms of your stamina and not wanting to exhaust things? Or?
Yeah. Once we folded the actors in, we had to refine performance. But by the same thing, the actors everything changed so much once they started yelling that timing was not going to change that much. So we basically agreed on what they were going to do, and then we just started filming it with the idea that we would just hope to get to the end, knowing that it took us 4 or 5 takes just to get through the front door.
Well, a perfect rehearsal is a wasted take, right?
Well, yeah. On that show, you're always shooting rehearsals because they just don't. Even if you do rehearse, once they start performing, it's so different anyway.
Mm-hmm. So then you mentioned there's a second part to the shot.
Oh yeah, that was conventional mode. downstairs, and then we flipped it. We went to lunch, came back from lunch, went into low mode, and we did the roof section. So the roof section was on a practical roof with a gable or an apex. He comes out, we hinged him into the over the shoulder, and the whole top section is low mode on this roof where we're putting up safety rails around the edges for the rehearsal and then pulling them all for the take and then rebuilding them every time everyone came up. But it was an actual practical roof. That whole set was just a facade in the previous season, but they built the facade into a full actual enclosed set, and they moved all of those interiors onto that set just for this episode, because the whole episode takes place in that clubhouse. And
So
they
the
wanted
interiors-
interior, exterior.
So the interior sets were established in the previous season. They existed, but they actually moved them all so you could have them all connected in the outside.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whew.
They took the 3 different interior stage sets, took the facade, which was just the front, and built it out with a real roof and totally made it a working set, but it wasn't enclosed. But they needed, the whole episode takes place interior and exterior of that set, so they needed to bring everything from the stages out to that exterior facade, which became the full set, and we did the whole episode in that space. And after that episode, they moved all those interiors back onto the stages for control purposes.
Wow.
But that was Elgin had committed to wanting to do that shot that way and have that whole thing play, and they needed to move everything out to be able to do that. Otherwise, you've got the automatic cuts of going through doors.
How were you feeling about this as it went along and as it was coming together, and you don't know these actors yet, and you don't know this director, and you hardly know this DP?
Yeah, I didn't know enough to be concerned.
Great.
I really I didn't. I was on another job, and I flew in just beforehand. I prepped, and I turned up that morning. When I saw it and saw sort of the enormity of it and the commitment of it, that's when I actually had some concern. And then it was sort of too late.
So you didn't know what you were walking into?
She told me it was a challenging big shot. I didn't realize it was on the first day. I didn't realize I was going to meet everybody and then start having to try to do that shot. And I hadn't seen the test footage until they gave me a half-hour pre-call. So I came in with a half-hour pre-call and saw that. I was, oh, okay, wow. All right. And it was we're flying a Venice with Cook Anamorphics, so it wasn't a small, it's not a small build. It's kind of long, and the front steps are really janky. So I was very concerned with going backwards up those full steps. And I didn't realize how inconsistent the acting timing would be once they started performing. So it was, you mentioned in your talk earlier about watching the actors and not watching your screen, which to me is mind-blowing. But I'm walking backwards through that whole thing whenever I'm in front, being led by my dolly grip. And for me, I just had to, I'm probably doing something similar, but I'm really looking more at the monitor when I'm operating and trying to feel that information peripherally. But the adjustments to timing and seeing in your monitor and actually trying to sense that third dimension in a 2-dimensional monitor is, I couldn't do any of that Don Juan. So we put a 4x8 on those front steps, and the middle steps. The big challenge on the middle steps was going down and having that actor stop at the front of the door and figuring out, sometimes he'd stop for a long time, sometimes he'd just blow right through that door. So sometimes I'm getting lost behind him and I'm jumping down the last steps to try to get around the corner. And then I had to get around the conference table before all the guys came and the guns came out, because a bunch of times I just got caught in there with all the people. And getting everybody around me became the big challenge. And then just figuring out the timing and always having to be essentially facing them just to figure out who was doing what, and the on-the-fly adjustments for timing and sensing that somebody's made a different decision and you're going to have to adjust it. But the whole time wanting to keep it as tight as possible because they needed that fat to get cut out of it in the takes so that they didn't have to cut around it.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot of moving
I was pretty
parts.
wound up at the end of it.
Yeah, I bet.
And then to go up on the roof and start the low mode stuff after lunch was kind of like, well, fuck, at least we're contained now.
And this being your first day, were you thinking, wow, is the whole season going to be like this?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of that.
I'm sorry, I haven't seen the show. Is there a lot of these dynamic wonders in the show?
We did a lot of Steadicam in the first half of the season, the first season 4, and then we did less and less and less of it. And the note I got was it was too stable.
So you started going more handheld?
More
left it up?
handheld, and we folded in ZG. So for the ability to move in that same plane with the same freedom of movement, but have a bit more of a handheld feel.
Something I really liked about the storytelling in this particular shot is there was some messiness in it, you know, and was that intentional, or is that just the nature of doing something this complex is going to have some compromise and timings? And,
I was just trying to keep the puppies in a box and just to keep moving.
What's that?
I was
Puppies in
just
a
trying
box?
to keep the puppies in the box and keep upright, basically. There was there's a lot of contact between the guys that all had to go past me. I had to fold into lines. I got hit numerous times by people passing me. The whip pan on this particular take, when the tallest of the brothers goes past me, he hits me and completely you can see the camera get knocked out of horizontal level. And I just sort of grabbed it and muscled it through into the chase and moved on, because just the fact that the timing changed so much, and just the fact that we were trying to go as fast as we could through everything, meant that it was always going to be sloppy. And the whole pitch was that the energy and the intensity will actually carry it, and that's very much how that show goes. And if there was anything that I was comfortable with, it was the fact that I knew that they wanted things in that world. I'd been given. My prep for the show was watching a couple of movies that the director producer wanted as his tone for the season. So the tone of the visual language was going to be a preference for intense and sloppy versus kind of composed and perfect.
I think it really works. I mean, if this was like motion control precision, like it doesn't have the same feel that works with this story.
Yeah, it was very much hanging, just kind of keep it all together. And when we got to the end of that take, the reset for the window blowout was so long, and that one was so close to being what we wanted, that the fact that I'd lost my horizon because of the contact, I didn't even say anything. I was just ready to move on at that point.
Great. Where can people see the show if they want to study some more of your work?
FX and Hulu. Season 5 is just starting now. I think season 5 is much better than season 4. But it's a family show. Watch it with your kids, which I'm not able to do.
And Colin, can we Google that commercial, or is it on your Vimeo page? How do people find that?
I had to find the DVD. Yeah, you can search that. I think it was Aquila or Strata, but there's not much more about it. I even was trying to find higher resolutions. I don't know, people forgot. So, not much.
All right, let's move on to Alec. Alec, do you want to say anything to set this up before we watch your clip?
This is from, I believe it's 2015. It's technically a Chinese furniture commercial for a company called Red Star Macalin, which is sort of like the IKEA of China. And they brought in the American band OK Go, who's sort of known for long oneers, and we did a little reinterpretation of a video. And what you're going to see is the video itself, and then a behind-the-scenes video, because that will answer many questions immediately, and then we can talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, so once we step off the stage, let's watch the commercial and then watch the behind the scenes, because it will answer a lot of the, like, holy crap, what am I looking at?
And because it's a music video, let's keep the music on out of respect for the artist, please.
Okay, go! Okay, yeah, that's good.
She's got no flag to fly, but she don't seem that much to mind. No, she don't seem to mind. And you got your armor on.
You gotta remember to unlock it before we do the jump shot.
Nights out in Babylon, yeah, nights out in Babylon. But maybe all you need is someone to trust. Maybe all you need is someone. Maybe all you need is someone to trust. Maybe all you need is
I'm really glad that behind the scenes video exists. That's pretty fun. So take it away.
Well, speaking of being glad the video exists, I'm also glad that an article I wrote, because Jendra, when I got home from China, was like, you should write this all down before you forget. And she was right, because I reread it this morning to remember how the hell we did that. Where to begin and try to be timely? January 2015, my friend Luke Geisbuehler, who's a wonderful cinematographer that I had done a couple of films with, called me while I was at Sundance and said he was in China scouting this video with OK Go, and he wanted to do it with Steadicam. And when he started talking about optical illusions that required exact, precision with, less than an inch in every dimension, height, left, right, etc., for them to come to form. I said, are these things that you can kind of find? Or he's like, no, you kind of need to whip pan, or they need to snap into place.
Do I recall you tried to talk him out of stage?
Yes, I did. I tried to talk him into motion control, but he explained that due to the nature of the video in the warehouse, that wasn't possible. So, we kept going around and around, and eventually he talked me into Steadicam and got me on a plane to Shanghai. And originally it was supposed to be 3 days of rehearsal and then 2 days of shooting, and I'll cycle back to that in a second. But I was thinking, we're pretty accurate with the Steadicam, but literally the inch of accuracy was scaring me a bit. You probably saw the laser pointer on the bottom of the rig. I added that. I use those V's you see on the floor all the time to sort of, that's something we teach at the workshops, to land in a spot. So I wasn't overly concerned about that. Height scared me a little bit, because normally the height of this, the boom height of the Steadicam arm is something you just do without thinking about it, to your frame. Sure, you can sort of use the spar of your vest and the relationship with your hand, but it's not that accurate. And then one night, I woke up and thought, oh my gosh, just take a Cinetape and attach it to the monitor and aim it to the ground. A Cinetape, for anyone who doesn't know, is an ultrasonic device that ACs use. It bounces a wave off and gives you an exact measurement, 6 foot 3 inches. So I thought, great, that's how I'll do the height. So we order all that. I go to Shanghai, and when I get there, I discovered they don't have a Cinetape. It's an Airy tape, which is the same thing. I'm like, great, except for they don't have the cables to attach it to the right camera we have. So I'm like, well, get the right cables. And they're like, no, we can't get them. That's all the rental house has. So I tell the ACs, I'll just cut the cable apart and make the cable. I come in the next day to discover that things work a little differently. The rental houses hire the ACs. It's sort of like a form of insurance, and they weren't comfortable cutting the cables apart. So they just sent the thing back. So I just had to do it without. So that was how we achieved the scientific height. And
Spinning camera.
Oh, spinning camera, yes,
So
the wheelhouse.
The wheelhouse,
Yes.
the rotating room. Yes. How did
I almost
you?
forgot about that. For them to walk on walls, what we call the wheelhouse, which you saw the spinning, platform. Obviously, I wasn't going to walk on the walls, so, the DP had already long beforehand said, you step on a crane. I said, great, But the trick is, how do you spin the camera to match the room? And, I thought long and hard. There was a device at the time called the Alien Revolution, which was the early versions of that were, I'm going to say, a bit of a disaster. I think you said that this morning in another panel. They were mostly known for electrical bugs and whatnot. What they were originally designed for is to auto-level the camera so you could turn a Steadicam upside down and it would stay level. But I didn't need it for any of that. We didn't want it for any of that. So I looked around for, as a way just to use that carbon fiber roll cage without any of the brains or the lack thereof that was, came with it. And I managed to find an operator named Ramon Engel in somewhere, I think Florida or Atlanta, had modified his, and it was just a simple carbon fiber roll cage with a motor hooked up and a microforce to spin it. So we thought, great, we'll just set the microforce to whatever speed to match the wheelhouse, and it'll be fine, right? In theory, but if you know anything about balancing a gimbal, or in this case, balancing a camera inside a roll cage, it has to be balanced left to right. Otherwise, you're going to get chatter and uneven rotation. That camera and AR turned out just to be a miniature model of the wheelhouse. And the wheelhouse wasn't balanced properly. It was way bottom heavy. So as it spun, it never kept continuous speed. It always got much faster after like 3 o'clock.
Gravity.
Gravity, yeah. So the DP and I talked to the engineers a lot about adding weight on top, but the motors were already stressed to their limit, and, they just wouldn't do it. So that was the single most difficult thing, was trying to match that, because it meant that the assistant doing the rotation of the AR and the microforce had to just do it by eye. We were shooting 6K, so we had an 8% margin of error to fix the rest of that in post, but it was a disaster for days. We burned through our first 3 rehearsal days and nothing worked. The set wasn't done. The cage didn't rotate, and then halfway through by the end of shoot day 1, I managed to do a couple rehearsals, and they all had to be with a real Steadicam because it's all very specific to the height, like I said, and everything else. So trying to do it with a lightweight camera would have been useless. Fast forward to the last day, we came in and they were redoing a lot of the illusions. So they had projectors set up everywhere, and they were remaking models and repainting. So I think at about lunch of the final day, we started shooting. But we just broke it into 3 pieces. I mean, what you see is one take, but we just sort of worked through, up to the crane. Did that a bunch of times. And then we did, the crane through, that is a actual zoom, by the way. When you get off the crane, it zooms into the bed. We always knew we were going to take out frames, but that's all done, in camera. And I think we recorded some of those rehearsals just in case they had to stitch it together, but the desire was always to do it in one take. And Damian Kulash, the lead singer of the band, was amazing. He's done so many of these crazy videos. He just is, completely unflappable. So he was a wonderful inspiration. And when I looked it up this morning, we did 22 takes. And we started naming them. Damien would dedicate takes to people. And Jendra happened to be visiting. And takes 21 and 22, the last two were both named Jendra. And 21 was pretty great, but we decided we had time for one more. So what you see is take 22, uncut, unmanipulated, other than the frame drops. And that's it. Oh, and one other thing, you'll see us docking the rig at the end. What I did do in my first few rehearsal days, I played with a lot of gadgets on ways to get the Steadicam to land exactly, like maybe have a little flag, the monitor hits. It was all distracting, and the pace of the video really wouldn't allow anything like that. But we did decide to use that dock for the very last illusion, because that one was, the sea on Macaline just fell apart if you were anywhere but literally in that dock. It was incredible how quickly it fell apart. Plus, they wanted me to walk down the ramp and join the video at the end. So that's why we did that.
Wow. So it sounds like this was hanging by a thread at all. Like the entire concept could have collapsed. There's so many problems to solve along the way. Like how were people coming up with ideas of alternative, like how to pivot, or let's abandon this, or like what?
Well, I continue.
It sounds there's a lot of stakes here and a lot. How did that go?
I continually joked with the DP, Luke, that I had a getaway car idling in the parking lot. So, that was about it. I guess plan B or C would have been to start stitching things together. But like I said, that band has just got amazing.
So they had the confidence that we just work through it. Like, did they treat all of these breakdowns and problem-solving solutions as basically just a normal part of the process of doing something this ambitious, that's just all part of the iterations? And
they really did.
Yeah.
I mean, these are literally people who went to shoot a music video in zero gravity, I mean, that was after this one, but yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, the most frustrating thing for the DP and I were trying to figure out the syncing of that, the two spins, because that was just a huge time suck, but it worked in the end. So sort of, I think. Oh, if I were to do this today, I forgot to answer that. But one of the beauties of having written that article is a Steadicam operator, Ruben, I can never remember his last name because it's very difficult to pronounce, so I'm not going to even try. But it was ex-software engineer, decided to make an app because of our struggles, and came up with an app, an iPhone app, that uses the iPhone sensor and will take the newer version of the AR, which is more reliable, and it will rotate based on the phone. So you can either set it to time or actually rotate with the phone. So we could have literally just put the phone in that rotating
So he
house.
read your article and was like, that shouldn't be so hard.
Yes.
I'm going to make an app if anyone wants to do this again.
Well, infrared, he said it was partial reason he did. It was also an actor can wear it and it will, do like a flip and it will, catch up. I mean, I think that was his big reason, but he, did mention that article to me as part of the motivation. So, and I did end up using that, not on a Steadicam, but on another movie, and it works great, so.
Great. Well, this is the conclusion of TIFF and Tech Day.